Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to Fewnilla County, and we're back again doing more of the downtown. So the plan today is to fill out this little area here. We're going to be putting in a stadium, a media park district, and maybe a bit of nightlife and tourism in here as well. But before we do that, we have a bit of an issue in our downtown, which is the traffic build-up around this intersection right here. So there doesn't really seem to be any issues with kind of the connections of our little couplet over here. It definitely seems to be this crossroads is just too busy. There's too many pedestrians, there's too many cars going in each direction, and there's no dedicated turning lanes as well. So I think the way that I'm going to solve this is actually by upgrading some of these roads to 6-lane, because that way we will then get more dedicated turning lanes at least. So I'm thinking here, we've got bike lanes, so let's go for the 6-lane road with decorative trees all the way up here, and we'll continue that onto the roundabout there. And then we do have our tram tracks coming across on this one, but we've also got bike lanes, and this one with the bike lanes does not have dedicated tram lanes, so I think we're possibly going to have to lose the bike lanes off this section. But it is okay because there are many other pedestrian routes that they can do to get around this, so I don't think it's gonna be too controversial to do that, I hope at least. So we're going to upgrade that entire section, and you'll see here, like now when we come down to street level, now that we've got all of these in, we are getting the lanes saying if you're going to turn right you have to be in this lane as opposed to multiple. There are 3 still to go straight on, so I don't think it's going to solve all of our traffic issues, but hopefully it will relieve them a little bit just by giving a bit more extra lane space for people to choose the direction that they want to go in. I am wondering if traffic lights would be beneficial here now. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to leave it like that and let it run a bit without the traffic light on, even though it's absolute chaos here, and see if that helps to clear it a little bit, and then we'll come back to it later and see if we need to do anything else to help this out. So let's dive straight into the stadium, and the one I'm going to use is from the Sports Venues Content Creator Pack, and we're going to use the Timber Box Soccer Stadium. It's a beautiful asset and I love the kind of orientation and design of it. If you haven't got the Sports Venues Content Creator Pack, you can pick it up from Instant Gaming via my link below, which also helps to support the channel, and there are a whole ton of games with amazing discounts on there for you. So we're going to be placing it in this gap here, and I think connected to this road would be nice. And the reason for that really is when you're coming in on this highway, which is a key kind of focal viewpoint for me of the main downtown as a whole, we get this little shot of the stadium in front of the downtown. So I'm thinking we'll definitely want to keep a lot of this open space clear out here. I think we'll have a bit of tourism and nightlife in and around the stadium over this side, but we want to keep this kind of viewpoint towards the stadium relatively clear. I am going to block it a little bit with the metro station, which we'll come on to now as well. But yeah, I like that position for it. So it's still quite central. It's easy access to the highway for all the people travelling in, but we definitely, like I said, want to add public transportation to it. So we have got the tram network, which I am going to develop potentially later in this episode, but possibly in another one once we've got a little bit more of our downtown in, so that we can kind of fully rework those networks around the centre. But I definitely want to bring this metro in around here. So we're going to divert this off a little bit and change this route slightly to bring it in and around the stadium. So let's go ahead and grab our metro tracks. And what I would like is it to run all the way alongside this road here, and then we can create a nice little bend curve to connect those up at this point. And then we're going to kind of divert it all the way across this intersection and into a train station at this side. So let's plop in a road. So we want to make sure we're leaving enough space behind the station here. I think something like that will be okay. And then we're going to bring a road up and alongside it like that. And I think the metro station we're actually going to use is the elevated island platform station, again from the train station's content creator pack. This is quite a nice one. I like this one. So I think in terms of orientation, we'll go this way with it and across the back of our station. I want to leave a little bit of space in between the road and the station here so that we could do some food truck prop detailing. Because one thing we can do with this as well is plot the airport aprons under it to fill in some of these concrete gaps as well. So we'll do that when we come to the detailing. But that sits in front of the stadium. It does block this view a little bit, but we can still see the stadium, so it's not too bad. And I think the metro really does need to be elevated through here to get across all of these networks without interrupting them. So let's just join up this track now. And we're very simply going to do it like this because yes, we have a slope down in terms of the terrain here, but it's pretty gentle. But this has come in really nice and flat first time across all of this bumpy terrain. So I'm very pleased with that. I think that just has to be. And then with this track, we're going to divert it and connect it into this one over here. So I'm thinking like a connection probably coming right out of this track over here. Yeah, we can get it reasonably straight there actually, which is good news as well. We're going to follow it alongside the back of this road here. Although I would like a little bit of space for some more zoning, so perhaps we kind of move it slightly further away than that. We'll come out to here and then we'll just need to try and connect this in as best we can. Something like that's not too bad. The tracks are connected there, yes, so the trades will run that way, and then we'll just continue to join this up. So now if we get this track, we can actually drag this stop all the way down to the airport. They're going to have multiple routes into the airport now, which is good news, I think, as well. Will help people get around, help the tourists get into the stadium as well, and we'll just obviously add back in our stations that we were missing there. And yeah, that flows back into the big box. Eventually this line will actually continue on to whatever we decide to build out here as well, potentially diverting through Central Park maybe at some point a little bit as well. I'm thinking it will probably wind through, have a stop at the side of Central Park and then come into this area over here. That is what I was thinking longer term at least. But that gives some nice public transit connections through to our station, and what I would like to do as well is connect this road up back here. So let's have to trim this back a little bit and see if we can bring this in reasonably straight here. And I'm thinking we'll make this bit a pedestrian zone as well and have a bit of nightlife along here. So we will need to add in a service point too. Let's just make this, yeah, we'll add it in round about there. I'll get rid of this bit for now. And then let's go ahead and add our pedestrian zone around this. I'm just going to fill out a little bit more of this area than I intend to, and then I'll tidy it up later on because I'm not sure where the pedestrian zone will end. And then let's go ahead and add in a service point somewhere. Again, this is going to be rough placement for now, just so we can make sure that we can still play the game without any issues. And we'll tidy that up when we come to design that later. Just thinking about this little space outside the front of the stadium over here, I would also like to add another little bit of pedestrian zone into here too. So let's grab our bluestone road because it matches what we've got back there. And we're going to just create a very simple section of walkway like this to connect into the stadium so the pedestrians can get across there. Then in the middle, I'm kind of thinking I would like to add the disaster memorial in here, because I think that would be quite a nice little feature in front of the stadium. Yeah, so if we have a look at that, that feels pretty good to me. And we can do some nice park detailing here as well. And that would just continue on that green space that we've got around Amsterdam Palace out into this area as well. So yeah, I'm kind of enjoying that. And before we carry on, I do also want to apologise for my croaky voice. I'm still recovering from a pretty nasty bug where I lost my voice for several days. So it's still trying to get back to normal, but we're getting there, So I would also like to incorporate parking into here. Obviously parking is going to be a big thing around a stadium in real life, so this definitely needs to be incorporated into here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and line this up. Let's get rid of guidelines for a second. Line this up so that we've got a perfect 4 block here, because then we can use our parking lots, the large ones, to fill a lot of this space. So I'm thinking one either side here would be nice. And then let's bring this road up and alongside them this way. Get rid of this little end, and we can potentially add in, I'm hoping we've got enough space, a third one in here. Yes, we can. So let's go ahead and add that as well. I'm wondering, do we want the green border there or do we not? Yeah, I don't mind it. I think we'll have that. And then I would also like to add a multi-storey just to kind of really hammer home the fact that we've got a lot of parking out by our stadium. So let's press pause because I'm actually going to delete this road and get it going straight so that we've got things lined up really nicely here. So let's grab the same road that we're using. We'll bring this out straight to about there. And then let's just check if we've got enough room to add in our multi-storey. We do. Excellent news. And then we'll go back into our roads and try and connect this up. It should just, yes, it does just about fit. So let's turn guidelines back on. Yeah, it does actually fit quite nicely right into the back of that stadium there. So that stadium corner will come really close to the road. And I actually really love how this parking lot, this multi-storey, is looking next to this. It's kind of that same sort of wooden framed structure. Yeah, pleased with that. The colour is absolutely spot on for what we want here. And before I forget, I do also want to go around and turn off a lot of these traffic lights on these smaller junctions. We just do not need them here. That's unnecessary, so we'll get rid of those. And yeah, that gives us quite a lot of parking in front of our stadium there. So yeah, I definitely think we'll do a bit of nightlife and tourism out the back of the stadium. Keep this area really nice and green along the main road. Obviously green around here, which we'll come on to do in the detailing. And then maybe a little bit of commercial lining here with some more housing around the background. We just need to make sure that we're not getting the noise pollution from the stadium out there, which will interrupt them. But that kind of sits in pretty well. So before we move on to the next part of the episode, we do need to name our soccer stadium. So please let me know your suggestions in the comments below. And also what our team colour should be. Obviously we get a lot of tourists running around in this colour, so it can be quite important. So let me know what you think for that and we'll adjust that. I wonder if we just crank up the ticket price a little bit. I feel like whatever Fewnilla County's soccer team is going to be called is going to be successful. So we'll raise the ticket price. It's a nice fancy stadium, isn't it? They've got to be successful to have this kind of stadium in their city. So moving on to this area, and I was thinking what would be appropriate next to a soccer stadium to put here. And I kind of thought a media park would sit in pretty well, like a TV broadcasting studios or that kind of thing. So I'm actually just going to delete out this little bit of road here and we're going to start to relay some foundations to put in our TV studio. So I do actually want this road to come out a little bit here, so let's just send that up that way. And then we're just going to bring this across and down a little bit here. I'm thinking we can connect it. It's going to be quite a dodgy connection, but we should be able to connect that back up in there. But if we come into our unique buildings and go to high tech, the high tech content creator pack, we have the television studios. So I think this is going to work super well on this corner here, particularly by the stadium. I feel like it's an appropriate place. We've got the financial district over here as well, so lots of news to be broadcast out of this little television studio. And this is a wonderful asset. Like, major earthquake devastates southern region. Like, that's really nice little detailing. Really nice little detailing. So I think we'll bring this road up alongside it if we can here. Let's actually just delete this back out and see if we can get it, yeah, lined up perfectly. That's going to be very close from a node point of view, but hopefully that will be okay. Then we're going to bring out another road over this way. I'm actually thinking, though, in the middle here, let's have some kind of central focal point. One of our unique plazas, perhaps, to add in here. The Statue of Wealth is very grand. I might save that for somewhere else. The Statue of Shopping would probably go quite nicely. So we can have that as a sort of focal point as you come into the studios. Maybe have a bit more of a communal area around here. But there is another building. If we go to the Concerts DLC, we do also have this media broadcasting building here. So I think that would be a suitable fit as well. So if we place that in there, that kind of gives a nice sort of spaced out area to those little radio masts. And yeah, feels nice, I think, there. We've also got parking around it, so let's bring the road all the way around this building again, just so that we're framing that off. Yeah, like that, and then we'll join it back up into here and perhaps bring another road up this side like that. And I am wondering now, I'm just thinking about the Concerts DLC, if we have enough space for the fan zone part. Oh my gosh, if that's perfect, it's got to go in there. I feel like that might be quite nice amongst the television studios. Like there's an event going on within the TV studios that's kind of hosted outside. Yeah, I think that would go well. We obviously still need to put in the main concert venue from the Concerts DLC, so we will of course be doing that. Do not worry, and that'll be coming very soon. And then that will kind of lend itself to actually having a fan zone park in terms of practicality here. We've got a lot of cars flooding in. I wonder if actually some parking would also be appropriate for in here too. So let's have a little look at our parking lots. We do have parking on some of the buildings, but it's not a huge amount. So we could potentially add a little bit more parking around the back of the TV studios up there, and potentially fit in a little bit more here and there too. Maybe this goes there. We can leave a little green border to it, and we could even add in another one over this side. I would quite like some offices and things around here though too. Just some like low kind of height offices, so we'll want to historicalise these as soon as they come in. But let's see what we can get from an office point of view. Maybe leave a few little gaps in between them so we can have a bit of green space or a bit of path detailing around them at the back there. That might be quite nice. Potentially see if we can add in a small building on here, although the land is starting to slope down. Let's maybe leave that section there. I want to keep the entrance quite open. Let's have another office building, I think, here with a small car park next to it. Just something like that, just to add in that little bit of extra parking into there. But yeah, hopefully once those office buildings grow up, this is going to look pretty cool. I'm quite enjoying the use of the fan site there. I think that's actually, it hasn't occurred to me before, but I feel like that sort of urban concert venue in and amongst all the TV studios is a pretty good fit. Now, of course, looking at all of this, we are going to want to go around and ban parking on a lot of these roads. So I think what we will do is upgrade this one to the one with the bicycle lanes. And we are just using concrete here. Maybe we'll have a little bit of grass outside the stadium, just because it's a slightly fancier road out here. And that'll also hook into the bike lane structure, obviously, up to this side. That works well here. And then some grass-lined roads might be quite nice. Maybe a tree-lined entrance, a tree median entrance into here. And then I'm thinking just basic grass-lined round a lot of the rest of it. So that's one thing I do like in cities too, is that you can choose what side of the road you want to have your grass or your concrete on, because I feel like the grass in front of the car park doesn't make a huge amount of sense. So perhaps actually we do upgrade a lot of these to without parking in total. Definitely this section going onto the highway here. In fact, that could even be a median road, I think, just to split off the traffic when it comes into there. And we could continue the grass on up this side, I feel, even though that is blocking the car park there after what I've just said, but that's okay. And maybe we'll allow parking around this side of the building on the road there, just so it's not quite as extreme as it was previously. There is definitely a game going on here. We've got a lot of people coming through, but traffic doesn't seem to be too bad at the moment. I'm wondering how many people are actually coming in from here. Of course, we haven't hooked in the pathways nice and easily to the stadium from here. So we definitely want to do that. I think annoyingly, the only place you can hook it in is on the corner. So yeah, they're going to be all going in down that way. We could definitely add in some path connections around at the back underneath here so they can flow that way too. I think it would probably be good to have this coming out onto this road somehow, although that pillar is right in the way there. So let's just join it up. Let's turn snapping off. We'll join it up to the main road here and then also across here to give a nice corner to that. And let's also hook it into our car parks here too. Of course, we definitely want to get rid of parking on the roads around the car parks there. So let's go ahead and do that. And they're all gathering at the main entrance anyway. We have got people going around this side now, so hopefully that will help a little bit. But people are, yeah, they are using the pathways, so that's good to see. And there's a lot of people using this metro station, so that's definitely bringing people in, even though it's right behind the stadium as opposed to kind of in front of it by the entrance. Okay, we've got some horrendous office buildings grown in here because I haven't paid attention to it. I absolutely love this one. So let's historicalise that and we can keep that. And let's wait and see what else grows in here. There is a 3x3 I think I quite like in here. So let's actually change some of the zoning to reflect that and see what we get in there. It might be quite nice to try and get another one of these up close to it though. So let's actually go for a 4x4 here. And we can see if we can get... Let's get rid of both of these, in fact. And we'll see if we can get 3x3 in there. And then maybe another slightly larger building at this end. We'll see how that goes. I need to pay closer attention to that as those come in. But we do also just want to head over here and start looking at a little bit of nightlife and leisure. So let's go back to our normal district tools. And we're going to do nightlife, I think, around the initial stadium here. So let's zone this all in just this little section. We also need to connect this road up as well down this side, so we do want to do that. I'm going to leave it like that for the moment because I may play around with the zonings a little bit there. But then on this district, we are going to go to commercial specialisation and we're going to choose leisure. And then when we zone in some commercial, we should get some nice little leisure buildings in here. And looking for those nightlife buildings in particular, I think for this area would be good. So we'll see what we get there. And then down this way, I do also want to put in another district and have a little bit of tourism, particularly along this road here, kind of slightly further away. Thinking we do need to reposition this, so let's actually just think about this road network coming in here because it's not ideal at the moment. So we'll click pause on that for now. I think we head this out a little bit further and then bring this down this way. Let's see if we can connect into the road. Yeah, here, that would be good. So we might want to actually just reconfigure this pedestrian road too. Sorry, buildings. Should have done this first. I think we'll come straight down like that. Let's redo this little bit of nightlife zoning in here. And then here in this little district, let's draw that out. Let's get back to our commercial specialisation. We're going to choose tourism this time and see if we can get some nice hotels in here. So we'll do some fairly large blocks, I think, for this and see what we get. We also want to incorporate some car parks within it too. So it would be quite nice to have a little bit more interesting road layouts with this. We want to use regular roads for this rather than the pedestrian roads. I've just realised we've not put back in the service point as well. So let's do that before we forget. And perhaps this could actually come in at the back of the nightlife over here. So we'll place that in there. Let's rezone some of this so we've got some slightly larger blocks, although actually we can take away a little bit of that, I think, there. Because some of the nightlife buildings are quite small. And let's check our tourism zoning. Yes, that's all good. And then we want to kind of add in a little bit more here. I'd like that to be a nice perfect angle though. Yeah, so that is a lot better there. And we want some quite large buildings, I think, here. So we'll make it pretty grand like that. Let's also go to zoning toggler and remove the zoning on this side of the road here. And also on this one. So let's see what we get in from that. We'll need to be a bit selective about them. But I think it'd be nice to have some hotels here in front of that stadium. And yeah, just thinking the leisure buildings aren't blocking it too much. So we still do have that nice stadium view from around this side. If we just check from like over in the media district, it's looking good. Over from the park. I also really like this street view as you come down here. And you've got, this is all going to be open space, obviously around the memorial with the media centre in the background, the stadium and the parking over here. I think that's going to be okay. Okay, so we've got two of the same hotel zoning in here, which I'm not in love with. So let's delete out one of those and we can keep in the other one there. And maybe we do want to go for some slightly smaller zones here rather than such large ones. So let's trim back some of those and then see what else we get in. But I think with that, it is time to start the detailing time lapse. So we'll go through and improve all of these offices over here. I can see one zoning in that I already don't like. So we'll go around and select those. We'll obviously tidy up this area here, add in a tiny bit more residential down here if the noise pollution can handle it. And of course, detail all around our open spaces, around the media centre, around the memorial and around the stadium here. Now, I have to say, I'm finding a great satisfaction in CS1 right now, like Fewnilla County, just all of this sprawl with the varying different assets and different buildings that we have available in this game is just awesome. We'll come back to what we've done in a second. I do just want to focus on this little intersection. The traffic build-up was still ridiculous, even after upgrading to 6-lane roads. So what I have done is actually changed this bit to one way, because I thought the main problem was people constantly trying to cross traffic from here, turning right. So now, instead, with this one-way system, they're all kind of going up here and turning right to get into the roundabout. So they're not actually crossing traffic from up here. Sorry, turning left is what I should say. Get my directions right. So yeah, this seems to have pretty much fixed our problems around this junction, which is great. So traffic is flowing nice and freely. I don't mind a little bit of backup around a downtown because I feel like that is realistic, but it was getting a little bit silly to the point where the traffic was sort of backing up out onto our kind of highway couplet road coming in here. So this is a good fix, and it seems to have worked nicely. Now, coming on, let's start with our media district over here first, and before we begin, I do want to give it a name. Now, I have a Patreon called ABC, and I did name, after someone else's suggestion actually, the media centre in Oregon, the Oregon Broadcasting Company, which was inadvertently ABC, but I would have liked to officially call this one the ABC Broadcasting Co. officially after my Patreon ABC. So thank you so much for your support, ABC. I really hope you like your little media centre in here now, officially named after you and not after a different name. Although we could maybe pretend that Oregon has launched a broadcasting company in Fewnilla County over here. But there we go. Thank you so much for your support again. So let's just have a little look at what we've done around the ABC Broadcasting Co. And we did a little hedge and hedge border, a double hedge border if you like, which I think looks kind of cool. It adds a different dynamic, and I like the little pop of pink around the edge here. We did add in some pathway connections to get people through nice and easily, and we've got a little shop here which actually I hadn't historicalised, but I actually don't mind that one. That's level 3 anyway, but we'll go ahead and historicalise that. And yeah, we've just done a few little trees around the place, lined off these car parks with this hedge border and continued that on round, but yeah, not too much else. We've added in a car park over here, a bit of fencing to frame the car park around the main TV studios over this side. Carefully selected our office assets, which have come in all right now. I'm not so sure about this little 1x1 industry asset, so let's actually delete that out. I was hoping the generator or something would come in here, because we did also introduce some of the disaster response buildings. So we've got the weather radar over here, and also the big tall radio tower over here as well, which kind of I quite like tagged onto the back of this office building. Adds another little communication tower into our media broadcasting centre, which I think is quite appropriate. I was considering adding the deep space radar, but it's absolutely huge, and because we do have these satellite dishes on the top of this building here, I kind of thought it was a little bit unnecessary for this one, but would be a cool addition to a media centre in general. But yeah, really pleased with how it's looking, particularly with the fan park in the middle of it. I like that idea. It sort of brings it a little bit alive, I think. And yeah, I think it sits in pretty nicely. If we head on over to our disaster memorial next, I did add in a cafe and a very tiny little tourism district here to get 2 souvenir shops in, which I thought was quite nice. But I've gone for very much less is more with this. Just a little bit of our prop fencing border from the Park Life's DLC, and then very open grass ground around the memorial, which I thought kind of kept it very visual and gave it a bit more of an important feeling around, rather than cluttering it with trees, which I am very guilty of a lot. And actually the same goes for this space. I've actually put, for the first time ever, nothing in it, which I really like. Like, I like this kind of just plain grass view up to the stadium. Like, this happens a lot and I'm very guilty of not doing it in the game. But I think in places like this it really works, and loving the metro going past over there too. Yeah, pleased with that. We did a few little food trucks over this side to give people going to the game somewhere to grab some food on their way in. A little bit of the prop hedge border around some of our car parks, but again, keeping it very, very minimal around the stadium. And then over this side, we've just added in a park because the noise pollution here was intense. With the stadium combined with the leisure commercial, which produces a hell of a lot of noise pollution, it really was very intense. So we have managed to squeeze in a little bit of low density housing over here. And a nice little commercial strip. I'm kind of enjoying this one as well, although this building has grown up from what it was. Clearly forgot to historicalise that. We get a little bit of a strip mall vibe here with the parking out the front, so I'm quite enjoying that. And then of course we've got our leisure as we come in over here and wind round through the station. Now annoyingly, I couldn't do what I wanted to do here and put the airport apron in because the stadium actually weirdly blocked it, which I hadn't realised we couldn't do. So we've just got a little bit of rough tiling with a couple of food trucks in here, which was all we could kind of squeeze into the edge of it. I think it goes pretty nicely with our little leisure bar strip down here next to our stadium. So yeah, pleased with how that's looking. And then as we come on over into the hotel district, I was quite careful and selective. So we've actually not got too many hotels in here. We've just got these kind of 3 or 4, if you take these 2 buildings separately, buildings here. And actually the service point for the pedestrian area fits in quite nicely next to this hotel, sort of the white and the glass, modern looking. Pleased with how that came out. And then a few of the smaller tourism industry buildings like the nightclub, souvenir shop, etc. down here with a little bit of generic commercial in too. And I did also remember, finally, to use some of the hotels and retreats buildings. So we have got another budget hotel in here. And it made me realise we're still yet to name our hotel chain. So we really need to do that. I know there's been a few suggestions already, so I'm going to go back over those. But if you do have any other suggestions, let me know. It's functioning pretty well. We're at 79% apparently. Did a tree just grow up? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's not doing too bad. It keeps flicking and changing, but there we go. We've got another hotel in, which is the important thing, and I'm really liking this little pop in height that we get in front of the downtown. Like, it's things like this I think that add character. Like, we've got the financial district here, the hotels over here, the stadium in the middle. Really enjoying that. And then in this area between the highway and all of this infrastructure, I decided to add a bit of a sports park. So we've got an American football ground over here with a few little stands, so it's a bit more of a community ground. A couple of food trucks, car park, and also a fire station, because I realised we didn't have great fire coverage over in this area too. And then a big football tennis ground over here, which I thought was quite nice, attached to the back of the stadium. And I've let people park on this road. It's very crowded, because I thought, well, it's a cul-de-sac road, it's an off street, it'll be okay. But that's what we get. And then we just finished it off with a bit of fencing all the way around. So yeah, I like how this looks, the tree and fence border protecting some of that tourism industry around here. And again, keeping open grass. I think I need to learn to do this more, because it's really nice looking through to the highway here, which we have of course fenced off as well for safety purposes. A few little clusters of trees, but yeah, generally very open as we come down towards the sports fields there. So it's integrated pretty nicely. It was quite actually an extensive build today, and it really has filled out this side of the downtown. So I'd love it if you could let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. My thoughts are our gentrified industrial type style of district over this side of the downtown, around the rail tracks, or of course we could come on and do the Central Park. Or the third option is building out a bit more. I think it would probably be residential over this side, because we need to get to 44k to unlock the next tile. We're fairly close, we're at 41,000. The money is not really going up, it's kind of staying, in fact it's probably dropping a little bit, but it's kind of staying stable, so we definitely need to get some more zoning in to get that money up, but of course it does fluctuate because of our industry. But let me know which of those 3 options you would like to see next in the comments below. But for today, that is going to be it. So if you have enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares are really greatly appreciated. Keep those name suggestions coming and what else you would like to see in Fewnilla County, and I'll take a look at those for next time. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye bye.